Okay? And I had to give the same basic speech and talk about Colorado. So why is it the iconic case? Well, it goes back over 20 years. In fact, Colorado was my first U.S. state client in 1986. And we've got some research. So it's not just my opinion. In fact, my opinion is irrelevant here. What I want to do is present to you some impartial research that comes not from me, but from the customers, that shows you what happens when you eliminate a successful marketing campaign. And it's two kinds of research. One is tracking visitation through what is now the largest study ongoing of American travel, Travel USA. Currently, we're going to 2 million households annually asking them about their trips. And as well, custom advertising ROI studies that measure if you spent so much, what did you get back? So we got two sides of a coin. And what I'm showing you here, there's no black box, there's no mystique, there's no magic. This is what happened in the marketplace. Well, let's start at the beginning, because there was some good news back in the 80s. Let's talk about the rise of Colorado tourism. And again, back then when we got hired, the first thing we were asked to do, because they didn't have any research, was to get involved in helping them figure out what kind of message do we need to get out to optimally get people to come and visit Colorado. So I looked at their vacation planning guide, and this is the 1986 vacation planning guide, the year that we were first hired. I went out with Don Marion, who was the research guy there, and spent a week traveling around the state so I could fan tour myself, so I'd know something about what it was we were promoting. There was the cover page, beautiful mountain wilderness. There were the major shots on the inside, beautiful, empty mountain wilderness. Get it? So what did we find? We found Colorado, actually, and much to my surprise, had a weak image. It was beautiful. You know, it was forest and wilderness and mountains for sure. But there was something lacking there. And it was devoid of things to see and do that people were looking for on a vacation. After you've stared at the mountains, what else is there to see and do? And if it's so wilderness-y, there couldn't be good restaurants, there couldn't be good hotels, spas, luxuries, amenities. All of that was missing, not enough to see and do. And, as you saw, they were reinforcing their own negative stereotype through their own promotion. Our research, our first report said, your problem is, based on the detailed image research we've done, your problem is that you're seen as mountains, mountains, and more mountains. And what you need to be, of course, is mountains and much more. And the much more, through the research, was based on a few principles. What's important to people? What's going to motivate them to come? And what are your assets and competitive strengths against the Montanas and the Californias and the Nevadas and et cetera? Put all those together, close the gap between the reality of Colorado, because you have all those things, just people don't know about it. And we were able to demonstrate that the product was in place. And close that gap between the perception of Colorado, which is weak, and the reality, which was a fabulous destination. So, client buys into the strategy, hires an agency, major national campaign. It was all print in those days, but a national campaign to show the fine resorts, the hotels, the restaurants, the attractions, museums, galleries, railroads, rodeos, shopping, Western heritage, etc. And here, from my archives, are some of those original ads. They were actually quite a little dated now. I've got some newer things to show you, but for their time, they were really quite clever, I thought. Strong visual headline that was cute, and then a minimum amount of copy down below, and then Colorado. Besides all the historic sites, Western museums, and Indian ruins, we have a few other points of interest, and there's a painter painting the mountains. So kind of a little play on mountains and much more. I like this one. Visit a place where the zoos don't have fences and the museums don't have walls. Now, showing a resort, one of the things we identified was that they'd never promoted their resorts, the Aspens, the Bales, the Breckenridges, Steamboats, all these internationally famous ski resorts for summer, and they were sitting empty in summer. Well, I was from Canada, so I said, well, summer's the high season for Banff and Lake Louise. What's going on here? And they said, oh, well, it's the mountains that are promoting, the resorts, and the towns aren't doing anything, and so we just don't promote resorts in summer. And I said, well, you're carrying all the overheads, and you're laying everybody off and having to go and rehire again. Come on. And so as part of that, they put summer resort into the campaign. So here's a guy. I know it's a little hard maybe to see in the back, but there's a guy golfing in one of the resorts with the mountains in the background. The headline says, "This is where the deer and the antelope play, but why let them have all the fun?" And then to image correction for the lack of amenities, after a day in the mountains, most people could eat a horse. Luckily, they don't have to. Well, that's all cute, but did it work? Well, we went back into the field a couple of years later with a similar image study and asked all the same questions. Guess what? And we've seen this over and over again with those people who get marketing right. And this is one state that does. If it doesn't take years to build an image, and as you'll see, it doesn't take years for things to fall flat if you don't promote yourself. Within a couple of years, Colorado's image had shifted from negative to one of the most positive we've measured. It shifted from mountains, mountains, and more mountains to mountains and much more. The market share for Colorado, the share of American trips, went up 50%, and that represented over $1 billion in additional spending, and there wasn't anything else going on besides the campaign, I think, that would explain that. Colorado moved from a regional destination when we started that was mainly getting farmers from Kansas and Nebraska and some Texans as well to get in their car and drive because they wanted to see something other than flat farmland. And with their national campaign, each year we saw more and more national business coming in, less and less of a regional destination. And guess what? That summer campaign, when we started, because in addition to just looking at whether people are coming on a trip, we also look at why, what the main purpose is. And one of the categories that we had was the summer resort category. We had a casino gambling category, a city trip, a theme park, whatever. And for the summer resort category, because again, they were sitting there, resorts were their key mountain product, and they weren't being promoted, and they were half empty in summer. They moved from 14th place in the national scene in 1987 to first in this category in 1993, the last year that they had funding. From 14th to first in the category. And then disaster struck. Saw the rise. Let's talk about the fall, because that's what you need to make your case.